Welcome everyone to MATHurdays. My name is Teresa Wills. I'm an assistant professor at George Mason University in the Mathematics Education Leadership Department, and my regular role is teaching synchronous online classes to math teacher educators and specifically for math specialists. I also have experience teaching in the classroom with these synchronous strategies as young as K-1 up to third grade, even some fifth grade, and I am first and foremost a middle school teacher, so I hope that I'll be able to show you the different ways that you can implement this in a variety of classrooms. Today's math routine is same and different, and our rich task is the caterpillar problem out of Smith & Stein's 5 practices for orchestrating productive mathematics discussions. I'm going to be using Google Slides for the remainder of the presentation, which means I'm going to turn off the ones in Collaborate. If you need to access Google Slides, make sure that you click this link here in the chat box. And as a quick note, if you are trying to increase or decrease the size of the main screen that you are on, you hold down the control button and press minus. Let me go on my screen. And you can see that my window is getting bigger. And you can hit Control Plus to make it smaller. So if you're trying to see other people's work, you can resize the main screen in Google Docs. Alrighty, I'm going to shut this down on the main screen here. And you should be working in between Google Slides and Blackboard Collaborate. Oh, my audio has a buzzing sound. Alrighty. I am going to restart in just a minute. It's probably using my laptop mic, so let me go ahead and get that rolling. Let's see, I'm going to do successes and celebrations first so I can restart, and then we'll go through those other slides. Join me on slide 2, 3, and 4. And this is a place where we share our successes and celebrations. You're going to grab a text box like this, and you are going to type what you are celebrating on slides 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to ask that if a couple of our veterans can go ahead and share with us a couple of things that you are celebrating. I'm going to restart my Collaborate so that I don't have that buzzing sound. And I will be back in. So veterans, feel free to turn on your mic and start sharing your celebrations.
At the end of the week, and the kids really enjoy it. I thought they wouldn't buy in, but they really love it, so I'm excited about that.
Testing, testing. All right, thanks folks. I heard that Raha just shared, and there you go. That's an example of how kids can have agency in your classroom even when your tech fails. So I hope that's fixed there. And Laura, can you tell us a little bit about staying socially distanced while saying goodbye to some students?
Yeah, I have a student who moved away, and I was really upset about that, but I was able to coordinate with his family to go say a socially distanced farewell from the curb. So that to me was really a special moment for me this week.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Those are so, gosh, isn't being a teacher just powerful? Let's see, we've got Susan, who's going to a local farm to pick up some flowers. What are you planting?
I planted peppers, marigolds, and pansies.
Oh, awesome. We've got Mary Beth. Can you tell us about ESTA Mysteries and how it went with your students?
Sure. So we've been doing Mysteries as a group all year. And then when we switched to this online platform, I started creating my own, and the kids had asked for a template. And so they sort of have taken over that routine, and a different student each week will volunteer to make one. And then we'll either do it to start the class or during our lunch bunch on Wednesdays.
How fun. I love Mysteries. They are kind of one of my favorite things. Awesome, folks. Well, this is Successes and Celebrations. It just takes a couple minutes in your class to build community and network students. Even our youngest students like to network together and share the things that they have in common. So definitely include this whenever possible. Some of my beginning opener slides are starting on slide 5. This session is all about math. The problem I'm going to implement is something that I would give to kindergarteners, and I would also give to Algebra 1 students. And I would alter it in just a teeny tiny way. And so I hope that you can see the way that we can spread this task over multiple grade levels. This is a norm in the Math Specialist program at George Mason University, and that's where I teach in. If you'd like to know more about it, check out slide 5. On slide 6 is just a reminder that if you would like recordings or templates, they are available on my website. And slide 7 is just a little heads up. I am continuing to grow as an educator, and my current productive struggle is working with groups that have more than 75 people in them. And so while 96 people registered, I'm not sure if we're going to get quite that many, but if we do, we might need to try some clone windows, and I will be sending this out through Chatbox if people say, hey, I can't log in. So you all are with me on my journey as I'm learning, and hopefully we can figure out how to reach more people in a single session. All right, let's jump right into the math. We're going to start with the same and different routine, and that is on slide 9. I'm going to ask for this routine that you type in the chat box and collaborate. I'm going to go over this norm. If you see something that is the same, you're going to write the word same, colon, and how it is the same. I'm going to model that right now. If you see something that is different, you're going to respond in the chat box like this. Different, colon, and the way it's different. And then we're going to also hear people over audio, and we're going to record those audio pieces on the slide here. So let's see how this routine works in an online environment. What do you notice that is the same, and what do you notice that is different about these two pictures? Patty, could you tell us what you mean by different number of people and pizzas?
Sure. I was looking at the picture on the top has 3 pizzas and the one on the bottom has 2. And then the one on the top has 6 people, the one on the bottom has 4. I was thinking of it that way, but I guess I could also think like the pizzas aren't the same amount. Even in the top slide, there's 3 pizzas for 6 people or 2 pizzas for 4 in the bottom. So I wasn't thinking of it that way, but looking at it again, I could see it having 2 different meanings.
Interesting. So let's see, Wendy, tell us about your same.
So if we include the dog as a pizza pepperoni consumer, then each person could share a pie and they could get a half. So in the top and the bottom, everyone would get 1/2 of a pie.
Interesting. So everyone's getting half of a pie if we also give the dog a half. Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about 1 pizza per 2 people or dogs?
Sure. So I noticed that if you're sharing the pizza, whether you're in the top picture or the bottom picture, you would be able to equally share the pizza by giving one pizza to two different people / dogs. So they're the same in that way, that the sharing would look the same at the end.
So, Jessica, it sounds like you're saying some of the same things that Wendy said earlier. Does anyone else notice what was the same between Jessica's explanation and Wendy's explanation? I've recorded them both on this same area.
Same is that each person would get half.
So each person would get half. And how does that relate to Jessica's? Let me go ahead and highlight that. And then Jessica said, I'm going to highlight Jessica's in green and Wendy's in yellow. How is it that they're talking about the same thing here?
Is it the same fraction as 1/2?
Interesting, the same fraction. Tiffany, can you tell us what you were thinking about? You used the word fraction.
Well, I saw the entire picture as the top orange box was the numerator and the bottom orange box was the denominator. And I looked at the pizzas first. And so 3/2 is equivalent to the people, which is 6/4.
Interesting. And then Raha has two different fractions on here. And I love this one. I'm going to actually put this in same and I'm going to put it in different. Raha, can you explain yours? And I'll highlight that in pink so we know that that one's yours.
Sure. So in the top scenario, we have 3 pizzas that's divided or shared by 6 people and a dog. So that would give me 3/6, which is equivalent to 2/4. And on the bottom scenario, we have 2 pizzas that are divided into 4ths because there are 4 people and a dog. So they're same because the value of the fractions are the same, but they're different because we're using different digits to show the value.
Interesting. And now let's consider what Carol said. Wouldn't it be 5 people and a dog? Carol, do you have a dog and do you feed your dog pizza or is it just dog food for the dog?
No, I feed my dog food and some human food, but no pizza.
So how would the fractions change if we're not going to give the dog any people food?
Okay.
How would those fractions change?
So it would be.
So then we would have 3/5 and 2/3, which is not equivalent. So they would be different.
Right. And isn't that interesting that if we just subtract one from the denominator, hey, we did the same thing to both of them. Can't they be equivalent? And we could have this big discussion about why it's no longer equivalent. Yuko, can you tell us a little bit about why you said the kids in the bottom would eat more?
Yes, because if you don't include a dog, the kids below, they would divide the 2 pizzas by 3 among them. So that's 2/3. But above picture, it would be 3/5. So that each kid will, 2/3 is bigger than 3/5.
Awesome.
Third. Right, is big.
So in this example here, what I was trying to do is get us primed for our rich task today. And our rich task is going to look at this idea of proportional reasoning. We're going to explore equivalent fractions. We're going to explore what it's like to have like an extra dog or not an extra dog. And we're going to see the way that things change. Again, when you are looking at your rich task, kind of look at it through the lens of this could be given to kindergartners or this could be given to Algebra 1 students. And what we're unpacking in each grade is a little bit different. I am committed in MATHurdays to include a little bit of literacy each and every time. So if you would take a minute, view the video on slide 11, and you can show me you're ready to move along by moving to slide 12.
Centipede's 100 shoes. Ow! The little centipede was not looking where he was going, and he hurt his toe. But which one? Not this one, or this one? Mom will know. I'll kiss it better, said Mom. Is it this one, or 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 this one? At last, Mom found the hurt toe and kissed it better. Tomorrow you must get some shoes, she said. Early the next morning, the little centipede's mom took him to the shoe store. 100 shoes, please, said the little centipede. 50 left ones and 50 right ones. Why do you want 100? Asked the shoe seller. Because I'm a centipede, which means 100 feet, said the little centipede. Do you want lace-ups or buckles? Asked the shoe seller. Lace-ups, please, said the little centipede. Lace-ups are more grown up. So, the little centipede tried on shoes until he found ones that he liked, and the shoe salesman wrapped them up. The next day, the little centipede put on her shoes.
All right, I hope that book is the perfect way to prime you for this problem. On slide 13 is the reasons and the objectives for why I do rich tasks in mathematics. These come out of the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, 8 math teaching practices, and you'll see all of them today. On slide 14 is the problem-solving oath that I ask my students to pledge to every time they work on a task. If you pledge to this oath, go ahead and type your name in the chat box. Look at all these great problem solvers that are here today. Wonderful. Our task is on slide 15, and this comes out of Smith & Stein's 5 Practices for Orchestrating Productive Mathematics Discussions, and it's called the Caterpillar problem. A fourth grade class needs 5 leaves each day to feed its 2 caterpillars. How many leaves would the students need each day for 12 caterpillars? Use words, pictures, numbers, or symbols to defend your thinking. Since we're working virtually, slide 16 has 5 perfectly chosen manipulatives to support you on your online journey. I'm going to place you all in groups, and you have group slides below, and you can continue to add anything you like on your group slide and make new slides as needed. If you are in a clone, please make sure that everybody else in your group is in the same clone. I think we've got everyone in the main one, but just in case. Alrighty, our breakout rooms will start in 3, 2, 1, now. Hello there, you all are group 1. If you want to turn on your mics and introduce yourselves and talk about how you might solve this problem.
Represent the caterpillars.
Okay.
Oh, and we're all on our own screen, right? When we click on the manipulatives.
Sure.
Mom,
Yep.
cookies amazing. I have one.
You're good?
Okay, this is actually on.
So put this over here so I can see. All right, let's see here. Just so, how many leaves would the students need each day for 12? Okay. Which manipulative do you guys want to use? Just put the problem there. I need to make the problem smaller.
I like the Unifix cubes.
Unifix, okay. I'm just going to try to make the font on this a little bit.
Hi there, folks. I can see that somebody in this group likes to use a variety of tools. What are you all working on right now?
I'm not sure what we're supposed to be doing.
No problem. So you all are going to answer the question about the caterpillars on slide 20. You can choose to use the manipulatives that are on slide 16, or you can choose to show your work with the little caterpillar and leaf that is on your slide. But everyone in this group is slide 20. Feel free to turn on your mics, introduce yourselves to each other, and think about the problem.
So I didn't have a chance to finish the video. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It was just to kind of get you primed for it. So if you got I only watched it to about 30 seconds, and that was plenty of time. Hi there, Group 5. I see somebody teaches T-charts or tables. Who was that and what grade are you in? I should say, what grade do you teach?
So I started it, I'm Carrie, I'm instructional coach, and then some of my group members continued it.
Cool, very cool. Way to work together on that.
I don't know if anyone else.
Hi there, Group 6. I see some really cool fraction notation on that leaf. Does someone want to explain to me what you're thinking?
Yeah, I was just trying to represent 2/5 with the picture of the leaf and couldn't figure out how to cut the leaf up into 5 pieces. So I thought I would just make a area model on top of the leaf.
Neat. And I can tell a lot about your conceptual understanding of fractions in knowing that that bottom fifth with just the little stem, that you're probably thinking that they would get an equal amount as somebody in the middle piece. So it's not a literal splitting the leaf into 5, but instead, like you mentioned, the area model on top of that. So very cool. I can't wait to see the way that evolves. Hello there, group. I see some really cool representations already showing up on your slide. Who did the red and green little graph number line here?
That was me. This is Sally. I like double number lines a lot, so I did that with the number line tool that you had shared from the Math Learning Center.
It's really neat how clearly I can see the caterpillars and the leaves and the way that they're connected together.
Thank you. That's why I love double number lines. I can see all my information and I don't lose track of things.
So the red, we had double number line. That's not what our double number lines look like. So it's, what tool is that, did you say?
The other person was saying, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name.
Deborah?
Yes. Someone was talking about setting it up as proportions. So, like I know first graders would be drawing all the caterpillars. They wouldn't see that repeated reasoning that could be taking place. Third graders, I think, would be doing arrays because once they draw all the leaves, they're like, we're tired of this. But algebra students, I just see them setting them up as proportions. Any other way that we can think about it?
Yeah, I went ahead, I grabbed one of the manipulatives because the challenge is to use as many. The other way we could do it is if I'm on slide 28. Do you want, wait, what slide are we on? Slide 27. Like if you use a 10 frame, and the red dots represent the leaves, and the 2 dots represents the caterpillars, and we can kind of use that same idea of drawing, but using 10 frame. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Until we get to 12 caterpillars.
I think it makes sense, but setting it up in a 10 frame for first graders, I would think they would just see 7. They wouldn't see the relation, the 5 to the 2.
That makes sense. Yeah, this would be more toward.
Hi there, Group 7. Your slides are coming together amazingly. Feel free to add a new slide below if you have so many representations that you just need more space.
It might be kind of cool to in a trajectory, like how you would scaffold them. Oh, I like that right there.
It takes 6 leaves to feed 15, and it would take 12 leaves to feed 30. I mean, it would take 30 leaves to feed 12. Sorry, said it the wrong way.
Got it.
But isn't the 2 the leaves? So didn't we find that it takes 12 leaves to feed 30 caterpillars?
Other way around, I think, because it takes 5 leaves.
5 leaves. Okay. Yep. That's because I made a picture with 5 caterpillars and 2 leaves. So that threw me off. Okay. You guys are right. Sorry. No, it makes sense. And that makes sense why my fraction didn't look right.
I just used algebra to solve it.
You were way more advanced. I was like in the first grade making a chart.
No, but I think that's just the different ways that you see the problem because of the grade levels that you work with.
Yeah, I use manipulatives because with my second graders, so I just grouped them.
Yeah, high school goes right to the algebra. Proportions and fractions.
Which is kind of cool to see.
So one thing I'm doing right now is I'm just playing around. Teresa had some virtual manipulatives on slide 16, and I'm just playing around with the Cuisenaire rods to see if there's a way that I can come up with to represent using some of her virtual manipulatives up on slide 16.
Hi there, group. As you all are completing your slide, which looks amazing, by the way, talk to each other about what you teach and how you might solve this problem with your students. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the main room. Can you believe you've already spent 20 minutes on that problem? Each group had a really cool way of looking at this problem. and we could have a rich math discussion about fractions, about proportions, about linear equations, about continuing a pattern. There are lots of areas we could go. For this discussion, I'm going to focus specifically on development of tables and the relationship to the double number line. So that's kind of your heads up teacher hat here. And we are going to start off with group number 1 and on slide 17. So if we can head up to group number 1, slide 17. And the really neat thing about this one is how they showed every single caterpillar and every single leaf that they would need. So on slide 17, I want you in your minds to think, how might this look like a table or a T-chart? How might I take this and flip it into a table or a T-chart? And then head on down to slide 27. And the question I have for you all to turn on your mics or write in the chat box is, how is slide 27 similar to group 1 on slide 17? So how is 17 and 27 similar or different? Go ahead and turn on your mics and tell us what you notice about those two.
They all show all 12 caterpillars.
They do show all 12. What else?
And they also show all 30 leaves.
They show every single one of those leaves. So if I'm 1-to-1, I can count those all up. What else?
The difference would be for group 1, it's more grouped together. So like the 2 caterpillars with the 5 leaves are grouped together versus group 8, I want to say. I think it's switched.
Yes, group 8.
We kind of just showed it in a more linear pattern, if it makes sense.
Oh,
I think on slide 27, group 8, what I notice is that they're looking at the total number of caterpillars compared to the total number of leaves. And so their visual table looks different from the other group because they're looking at like per day.
Laura, what's your evidence that slide 27 is looking at totals?
I noticed that they have a running tally on the left-hand side, 5, 10, 15, 25, 30. So to me, that means that they're trying to show the total amount of leaves that the caterpillars would consume per day.
Oh. Melanie?
I do patterns on Thursdays, and we use tables. 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And on group 8, in step 1, that it's 1 times 5, 1 times 2. You can see it's 2 times 5 and 2 times 2, which are 4. And so this could really, like, it's showing that those steps could actually create an algebra problem with it.
Right, so I have these little transparent pieces here that I like to move on top of the work that my students do. And so in this one, I can definitely see this like +5 happening over here. And I can see the +2 happening over on the other side. Let's compare these to group 3. Let's see, where are they? Slide 22. How is slide 27 similar or different to slide 22 where the arrow is pointing? So I'll type it again in here, 27 and 22.
So to me, the table on slide 22 is actually just a numerical representation of what group 8 did. They're just using numbers instead of pictures.
And in the other one, I was able to add these little +2s and +5s to their sheet. Where do you think the +2 and the +5 would go on this table? Do you see it anywhere?
It would go in between, as you go from 2 to 4, you would put that in the in-between line in the arrow that you just drew.
Oh, whoever's doing the curly arrow, just keep it going, and someone else can copy and paste those +5s and +2s so our students can see the growth of 5 and the growth of 2. I'll have you all keep doing that. And as that is evolving, let's take a look at what this looks like on something called a double number line. Group 7, let's see where they are. Group 7 is on slide 25. And they're using something called a double number line. And specifically, they have a blue arrow on slide 25. How is this similar, and how is it different from our other representations? So Saranji,
It's also like table. So like you can, instead of comparing left to right, we're comparing top to bottom.
Oh, so it's the direction of top to bottom, left and right?
Yeah, that's what I think. You can compare them at the same time.
On slide 22, you all created these little jumps with +5 and +2. Are we able to see these kind of jumps on the double number line? If so, go ahead and show us. And if someone could defend how they see the jumps on the double number line, go ahead and turn on your mic.
I think it's shown as a proportion. What I do to the one number and I'm jumping by 2, I'm doing the same thing to another number, but I'm jumping by 5.
Neat. So I'm able to clearly see that proportion, that idea of jumping by 2 or jumping by 5. Hold on, let me get that back. It looks like. All right, that's coming back here. And then the next one I wanted to look at while we get that back is group 2 did something like this. So let's go and see what group 2 did. There you go. I put that one back in. Group 2 is up on slide 18. So come join me on slide 18. And could the owner of that double number line at the bottom tell us what did you use for it and how did it support your thinking? Slide 18.
So what I did is on the bottom, I did jumps of 2 so that I could see 2 caterpillars, and I jumped until I got to 12. And I saw that I made 6 jumps to do that. So on the top, I made jumps of 5 because they were 5 leaves. And so I made 6 jumps on the top, and that took me to 30. So that showed me that for 12 caterpillars, I would need 30 leaves.
So this double number line, they don't end at the same kind of vertical spot. One ends at 12 and the other ends at 30. What are some connections that you're making between one of them ending at 12 and the other ending at 30 and our double number line on slide 25? ahead, Melanie.
What I notice when it's like this relationship of how to get to the 12 with the 2 and 30 with the 5. And so it's a 2 times 6. And it's easier for me to see the presentation on group 2.
So we can start to see this 2 and this 5 emerging. Who else? What do you notice between the 2 double number lines?
So the double number line on slide 18 is showing the quantity a little bit better. So you can see it's like 5, where it's 2 caterpillars are jumping over, so you're able to show the total at the end. Where the other one you can show the total at the end too, but it's a little bit more abstract for kids who haven't. What slide is that? 25. It's a little bit more abstract to figure out how that table works, versus the other one is showing the quantity a little bit better. It kind of connects to this, I forget what they're called. Cuisinart rods?
Cuisinart rods, yeah, that's right next to the double number line on 25.
Yeah, so the other number line connects to this a little bit more, the Cuisinart rods, but in a linear form. Versus this table on 25, it's a little bit more abstract with like an X and Y value.
All right, teachers, I'm going to ask you to put your teacher hat on for a minute. Slides 25, I'm going to put this in the chat just so we all know which ones we're on. 25 and 18 are 2 different linear models that show the same thing, but they look quite different. Which one would you use and why to get kids to be able to think like the table on slide 21? So if our end goal is getting them ready for kind of this Algebra 1, slide 21, which of those linear models would you use to get there? And hint, there's not a wrong answer.
I would use slide 18 because it shows more of the skip counting and more of the understandable of where you're going with algebra and then how to chart that information.
Cool. So slide 18 shows quantity. All right, who's going to defend the other one? Why might we use slide 25 to get them ready for algebra and tables?
So I would use slide 25 because it shows them with the double number line. It allows us to see that there's a relationship going from the 2 to 4, that jumping, but we could even see that there's a constant relationship between the 2 and the 5, the 4 and the 10, so they can see the connection both up and down and left and right.
I think it would also depend on who you're working with. Middle school, slide, and perhaps younger kids might need the more concrete.
So how has your thinking changed as educators because you were forced to compare both slide 18 and slide 25? How has your thinking changed because I forced you to compare those?
I think, so I did the table on slide 18, but actually, considering that slide 25 shows how the relationship between the 2 numbers remain constant, that's something that I hadn't considered before.
I have the opportunity to work with K and 7th grade and everything in between, so I can see how the little kids will have to see the quantity growing by 2 and growing by 5, but how the older kids can now see a proportion that I do need 5 leaves for every 2, so it's continued to be constant. So the double number line that ends at the same place, even though the jumps are different, I think it's better for them to see that constant relationship.
Oh, so I'm going to see this progression where kids would start with this quantity and they would progress to proportional reasoning. So why is your thinking changed? Because I forced you to look at both of them, not to just give you one, but really analyze both.
So in
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
In fourth grade, we do a lot of function tables, and I don't know why I've never thought about using double number lines. We're used to doing double number lines when we're comparing fractions, but this makes so much sense now that I don't think I can do anything else.
I think it has to do with anticipating student moves and teacher moves because some kids might only see it one way and us being ready to show it in a different way and understand it and then show it to other kids. I've heard a saying that says that once somebody shows you something, you can't unsee it. So I think that all of us, and not just went through this experience, can understand where the kids' thinking could be. And if they don't understand it the one way that the book presents it, we have another tool to show them.
Kids in middle school, and I teach kids with disabilities, and 5 represents a lot of what I do. This has really pushed me that I probably need to take a step and even go more concrete for some of my students who have disabilities in math, and maybe even scaffold more for.
Right, indeed. So here's the challenge I'm going to send out to all of you all. And that is that when you host a math conversation, when you have students talk about the math, that it's not just a show and tell. It's not just a slide 21, here's a table, slide 18, here's a quantity double number line, and slide 25, here's a proportionate number line. Instead, I like students to see all three at the same time. I like them to have a little bit of that discomfort in their stomach going, ooh, I don't like that one as much. I like this one better. But what they're really doing is they're making connections. They're finding the 12 on the table. They're finding the 12 on the proportionate number line, and they're finding the 12 in the concrete double number line where we can see the quantities. And when they can see the 12 in all three places, I know they're making that mathematical connection that's going to set them up for proportional reasoning, number sense, and Algebra 1. So we just did a whole lot here. I'm going to have you all join me on slide 33 for our vertical stretch. If you're new to these sessions, at the end of the problem, we type in the grade level that we teach and a specific standard or topic that you could use this problem in to show the way that we can stretch this vertically across many, many grades. So slide 33 or one of the copies below, grab a text box, tell us your grade and what topic you would use. I hope today's session has inspired you to not only pick your favorite representation, but to get a little uncomfortable and start to love some other representations as you discover how to connect them. As a reminder, on slide 38, everything is available on my website. A recording of this session will be posted within the next 24 hours. And I will stay after for anyone who would love to talk about anything on the virtual parking lot, whether it's mathematics related or how on earth did you do that in Google Slides. So it's been a pleasure spending my Saturday with you all in MATHurdays, and go enjoy your online learning. Someone wanted to know, is there a way you can get hours for your school district? Are you referring to recertification points? If so, send me an email and I'll send you a certificate. Yuko wanted to know, will the Blackboard recording include your slides? I'm going to share my screen real quick so you all can see where to go for everything. All right, I'm going to go to teresawills.com, if I can spell my name right. There we go. If you want templates of anything, they're available at the templates link right up here. And I've got tons of templates that you can use. Just drag them right into your Google Slides, including the math templates. There's the same and different over there. And if you're looking for the MATHurday recordings, I'll go up to projects and click MATHurdays. You'll see all the tasks and all the recordings from past Saturdays. They also include the blank slide templates, so you can just grab the information and pop them into your presentations. The completed slides, if you wanted to see everyone's representations, and the recording of the PD. So you'll see it soon right about here. Someone asked, do you take time throughout the year to introduce them to different manipulative sites, or just put the links in there and have them explore? I just have the kids straight up explore. I really am comfortable in a lot of hot mess in math. That's where I see a lot of thinking and learning. And I'm not so interested in the perfect, organized, every kid knows what manipulative to go to and how to use it. Instead, I just give them resources. And like one of our participants said today, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so I just put a list up there and I allow them to kind of go at their own pace. Let's see some other questions. How would you monitor the breakout groups or divide into smaller groups when there must be a moderator in each group? I would suggest, if you're interested in classroom management and accountability, I do a whole session on that. I remember once being a 7th grade teacher, wanting to do a lesson on 3D shapes, and I wanted my students to bring in their own 3D shapes, and we are going to do a bit of a show and tell. But one of the veteran teachers convinced me that this is not a good idea for middle school because you never know what they're going to bring in. And what I lacked to notice at that time was the way that you can use classroom management routines and hold students accountable through expectations about how to be appropriate. Now that we're moving into this online world, we have the same need right now. Much like teachers don't want to do math workshop or don't want to do small breakout rooms because they're scared that their teachers or their students are going to be on their cell phones or maybe talking about something off task, I'd say go visit a kindergarten classroom. Those teachers are the experts on routines and giving students agency. And that's kind of what that boils down to. So I'll get off my my podium on that one, but I've got some tips in that other session too. Someone asked, for in order this to work with students, they need a laptop. They can use a variety of different devices, but they should download the Google Slides app as opposed to working just on the website. The Slides app will allow students to edit, drag, and drop. Some schools do require a moderator for every breakout room. I encourage you to use your position to talk to leadership about the agency that we give students when they're in different breakout rooms, and to develop the routines that a lot of teachers use when they have small groups in the classroom. And I'm happy to help out with that. Just send me an email if you want to talk some more on it. Someone mentioned K students do not interact. I do have a PD specifically for K through 2nd grade, and it's where I work with students in those younger grades, and we focus specifically on how do you get students to interact and work together. All right, there's a couple coming in the chat box, so let me read those. Yes, if you need recertification points, send me an email and I will send you that. Someone asked about recordings. You could do what I'm doing right now and share it on Collaborate and record that, or you can use a free tool called Screencastify.
Screencastify.
And that one's super cool because, first of all, it's free. Free to educators right now, and it will let you record whatever you see on your screen. So when you move to a breakout room, it's recording you moving to the breakout room. When you move to a new slide, it's recording when you move to the new slide, and it's pretty awesome. Yes, thank you, Stephanie, for that. Karina asked the K2, if you go to my website here, under free PD, I offer several different ones, and that very first one is Classroom Communities for All, especially grades K through 2. Thank you for the kind words, everyone. The K2 ones are on Mondays in May. Raha, I am working on June sessions right now, so hopefully soon I hope to offer some other ones specifically on Math Workshop and people who are interested in train the trainers. Oh yeah, Stephanie, anyone can attend K2. When we talk about the different activities, we will talk about how they can interact, or how they work with K2 kiddos, knowing that K2 kiddos have like dexterity, developmental milestones in terms of like how to use a mouse, how to move something on the screen. So we get a little bit more into the development of the tasks and how they work. Karina, if you send me an email, I would love to be involved. Let's see, where's the question? Oh, someone wanted to know about split screens. I think that may have been it. I have a video on here that could be really useful for you. Let's see, where did I put it? That's half the battle here. Staggering windows. Somebody wanted to know about splitting the screen, and I have a video that kind of gives some tips on that. Sure, previous recordings. If you're looking for MATHurdays, this is the link. If you're looking for PD recordings on the other ones, more general for every subject area, they are right down here. And there's several sessions. So if you want to just see the recording of the K2, for example, it's right there. Stephanie, in June, I'm going to start kind of staggering them, making them around 3 o'clock. That works better for my family schedule as well. But the recording is also up there if you want to take a peek at that one. Joanne asked about skills for Google Slides. If you head over to my website, there's these options, tips for educators, and pretty much I just learned how to kind of hack the slides. So the first couple things are tips for giving students a voice in online learning. And then I've got some Google Slide hacks, like how do you, have it do a read aloud for students? How about read aloud in other languages? Or how do you, use things like staggering windows, different ways of sharing Google Slides? If you find that students are moving things around on your Google Slides, there's a way that you can lock them. And there's a way that students can type right in these graphic organizers. So you can check out those videos, and hopefully that'll help out. I think I've gotten to everything. If you all have other questions, go ahead and type them in now. I'm happy to continue to share these as long as people are interested in coming. I love math and doing it on Saturdays. Alrighty, one happy online
Thank
learning.
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.